Hi, welcome to the Gear Garage. My name is Zach, and this is my fun little internet show about whitewater stuff. And today we'll talk about lean and mean safety kits, what you might take if you're a guide on day trips, or what you might take as a private boater who's doing light oar rafts, catarafts, maybe a paddle boat on class 3, maybe easy class 4 rivers. Just the base minimum equipment you need to do some basic swiftwater rescue techniques, do some mechanical advantage. And first of all, for our multi-day trips, for outfitter trips, we carry a safety kit like this. This is a big safety kit. It has 200 feet of rope, 8 carabiners, 3 big pulleys, tons of prusiks, all kinds of little fun tools, and things maybe that you don't need for lighter boats. Again, catarafts on class 4 or 5, you don't need something like this. And most of you probably won't want to carry this. This is $400 to $500 worth of stuff. That's a little bit too much for us to all afford. But also this bag's a lot to carry on a day trip. Or if you're maybe guiding, maybe one boat has this in 6 or 7 boats, but as a guide, you want to have a few more things. So this is more of like a lean and mean kind of basic safety kit for the typical boater. And first of all, you should have some sort of training. I mean, having pulleys and prusiks is super cool. You can take a swiftwater rescue class, or you can just learn from friends and watch some videos and just sort of pick it up from experience. A lot of kayakers have learned this from experience. But I highly recommend taking a class because it teaches you more than just how to do mechanical advantage. It teaches you how to be kind of safe on the water, and some big picture practice type things. So with that being said, let's kind of go ahead. This is based on Mark Hurst's 4-3-2-1-1 idea for carrying gear. It's easy to remember. Mark Hurst taught us this International Rafting Federation course last month. We learned a lot from it. I'll do more videos from stuff that we learned. But an easy way to remember is 4-3-2-1-1. And so first of all, the 4 is carabiners, and 4 carabiners is a good number to have. They should all be locking. We should never use unlocking carabiners in a whitewater situation. Anytime you have your water bottles or anything, you should all have locking carabiners are locked. And you have to remember to lock them. I'm a big fan of these simple ones. These are made by Petzl. They're oval shaped. They're just basic. You have to twist them to lock them, which for some of you is a lot to remember. Maybe you don't want to remember that, and so I'll show you what auto lockers are in a second. But I just like these nice basic carabiners, and 4 is a good number to have. This is an auto-locking carabiner. It's a bit more expensive, and you have to learn how to twist it, but once you do, it's pretty easy. It locks itself. So, for example, if you're going to clip into some safety situation, you can just clip in, it locks itself really nicely. So, I like these for their simplicity, but those of you that can afford it might want to think about auto-lockers, especially if you're forgetful, and you might forget to lock your carabiners. After carabiners is pulleys. 4 carabiners, 3 pulleys. Now, those of you that do a lot of, that know how to do a 3-to-1, know it only takes 2 pulleys to do that. But Mark likes adding a 3rd pulley to also do a redirect. If you're pulling on a 3-to-1, you're pulling in line with the boat, and if something breaks, all that hardware can come back at you. If you send it through one more pulley, you can pull in a different direction and be out of line of fire of all the stuff. So that makes sense to have 3 pulleys, again, to do a 2-to-1 and also to have a change of direction. So I'm a big fan of these for just day-to-day use, these Petzl Minis. There's a couple other ones this size. You want to get a good one. There's a lot of them out there that are kind of cheap and not that great. I'd highly recommend spending the $50-$60 a pulley to get a good one. If you're going to carry them in your PFDs, you want to get a sealed bearing. That way if they get wet, the water doesn't get inside the bearing and it keeps working. This is just a good mini size, something you can carry pretty easily. And here's 3 of them. If you think that 3 is overkill, carry 2. 2 is enough for most of you. But I like the idea of 3 again for that redirect when you're doing the 3-to-1. And there's other things you could use a 3rd pulley for. In our big outfitted kit, we use this big pulley. This is definitely overkill for most of you. This is for a big static line for heavy duty uses. You also, when you're looking at pulleys, you want to get a prusik minding pulley. And for those of you that have run 3-to-1 systems, hopefully you know what that is. They have a square end like that. So a lot of pulleys have like a circular end. The square end allows the prusik to stop there and it can catch it. It's really good for a progress capture system, and again, when you're doing a 3-to-1. So I highly recommend a prusik minding one. This one's the same thing, a squared off end that can stop the prusik. So next are prusiks, and prusiks are historically just loops of ropes that climbers use to tie a prusik knot around a bigger rope and ascend ropes. It's a great way to, you can attach this to a bigger rope and move it up and down the rope. And they typically are tied in loops with some sort of accessory cord with a double fisherman's knot. And again, you could just go to like a store, buy some rope, and do it. There's a lot of modern technology in Prussics, and I highly recommend avoiding this now. I mean, you could do this, it's no big deal, it has this big knot. But with modern technology, there's new fancy things with sewn loops. This is actually sewn together. This knot takes away about 20 to 30% of the strength of the rope. With a sewn loop, this part is actually stronger than the rest. So by having the sewn loop, it's stronger. Plus, when you're minding your Prussic, you're dealing with a Prussic, this isn't in the way as much where this knot can be. And a lot of these new Prussic lines are just really nice, easy to work with, really supple. So I highly recommend, again, something designed to be used as a Prussic. Just Google Prussic loops. I highly recommend this Sterling hollow block. This is great stuff. This is a 19-inch loop. Most of you using smaller pulleys like this, you're going to want their 13-inch loops. This is really a nice size to go with this pulley if you want to have it correctly minded. And again, if you don't know what that means, take a class, learn how to do it. I also really like this other Sterling one. This is called the Auto Block, and it's just a nice size if you want to go small, easy to work with. About 13 inches. Again, it works really well with these smaller pulleys. So you want to have two Prussics. So 4 carabiners, 4 locking carabiners, 3 Prussic minding pulleys, 2 sewn loop Prussics, and then finally the 1-in-1. You need to have some sort of webbing, flip line, anchor, at least one of these. And this is so that if you're the person that's stuck on a boat, you can tie some sort of self-equalizing anchor to the boat. Or if you're the person on shore, you can use this to tie an anchor to a tree or a rock. This is the minimum amount to get by, but allows you as the guide or the boater to tie some sort of anchor with your piece of webbing. I've been using lately some fancy sewn loops that work pretty well too. There's some new technology that you can get out there, but just regular old inch webbing does a good job. And some of you carry this as a flip line already in your PFD, so you already have it. The other one is throw bag. You definitely want to have a throw bag. This is your rope, and so you can use this, to do a 3-to-1 if you need to, a 2-to-1. You can use this for all kinds of stuff, but you definitely want to try to have a throw bag with you to do the system. And so with all of this and some knowledge, you can create a number of mechanical advantages systems quickly. And so again, 4 locking carabiners, 3 minding Prussics, 2 sewn loop, 3 minding Prussic minding pulleys, 2 sewn loop Prussics, 1 flip line piece of webbing, 1 throw bag, and that's a good amount of stuff to do a number of systems. And you want to make sure that whatever rope you have works with the pulleys that you have as well as the Prussics you have. If you just go buy stuff and it doesn't work, that's not good. You should definitely test it out. Now the other question is, where do you store this stuff? How do you carry this stuff on the river? Some of you may want to carry it in your PFD. And if you do this, if you get some of the smaller stuff, these new Astral PFDs have some side pockets here on the side. They have this front pouch. Of course, this front pouch is where I want to put like my camera, my sunscreen. I have my knife in here. So I have a little rubber ducky. It's where I might keep some snacks. I tried to put stuff in here. But with all this stuff, you could take 4 carabiners in these new Astral vests and shove them in this side pocket. Let me see how that goes. So let me open this pocket up. And I can stick 4. And a lot of you will see you have your carabiners on the outside of your PFD. I'm not a big fan of that personally. It's not something I'm into. It's just kind of a macho look. They can get caught up on something, and if they're accidentally not locked, they could grab on something if you fall out. So I don't know. I can get. I just got 4 carabiners in that side pouch. I can take this other side pouch. I don't think I can get all 3 pulleys in, but I can get 2 of these pulleys in this other side pouch. And if I'm careful here, I can also shove these 2. I really like these little Sterling Auto Blocks. They're small, they're simple. They can fit in here as well. So that's a nice match. This is if you want to be a walking Z-rig. If you want to have all the stuff it needs to do a Z-rig or a 3-to-1. And that leaves you with carrying your webbing, which you could put in your front pouch. A new technique people are doing is kind of shoving it in between their body and their PFD, which seems pretty marginal to me, but if it's wrapped up tightly, I can see how that's a possibility. And then if you have your throw bag, which is something a lot of people are carrying around a waist as a waist belt, or just something you could grab, you're set up to do all kinds of rescues with this stuff. Now keep in mind, when you shove all this metal stuff in your PFD loses flotation. So for me, I'm 220 pounds. These PFDs provide like 16 pounds of flotation. I want every bit of flotation I can get. I'm not stoked about throwing a couple pounds of metal inside my PFD. I'm not going to float better. So what I've been doing is not putting my stuff in my PFD. I usually carry a watershed bag like this, and in this watershed bag, there's my webbing. I have some press sticks and some carabiners. I have a first aid kit in here. I have some snacks. I've been carrying a saw a lot just because I've been running Woody Rivers. But I've been carrying this with me, and so if there's ever any kind of rescue situation, I can just grab this watershed out of my boat, carry it down, deal with it. So, I think it's a judgment call whether you want to cover yourself in rescue gear and be like a walking Z-rig, or you want to have some sort of small dry bag handy to get to your stuff. The other advantage of the small dry bag is it keeps all your rescue safety equipment dry. If your press sticks are getting wet every day, if your pulleys are getting wet every day, eventually water could get in the seal bearing. Your carabiners might start getting sand in them or kind of getting tougher to open. And so one advantage of storing it in a dry bag is that you can protect all this expensive equipment that you're going to invest maybe like $150, $200 into. You want to protect it. Of course, the advantage of having it in your PFD is you're ready to rock. If there's some kind of issue, you jump out of your boat, you open your pockets, you're full on rescue mode, and you're tying knots and saving lives and being rad out there. So again, it's a decision that you have to make depending on, how often you're having to do rescues, or what kind of rivers you're doing, or just who you are, what kind of personality you have, and how much you want to do with this. So yeah, that's the 4-3-2-1-1 system. I'm really digging it. I'm definitely was when I first heard about it, I thought 3 pulleys was a bit much, and I still do. I think 2 is a good number. But if you have at least 2 with you, or even 3, you by yourself can help somebody out. So if somebody's stuck on a rock, you can set up a 3-to-1 really quick, and if you're there by yourself, you can pull with the effort of 3 and help them get off. So I'm kind of into it because you can, as an individual, or you and one other person, like a guest on a trip or a friend, can help perform some sort of rescue. So that's it. We're gonna blog about this too, and hopefully I'll put the link to the blog down in the comments below, or down in the description below. If you have thoughts, questions, if you disagree with some of this stuff, please add a comment. A lot of you are swiftwater professionals out there. You're experts. You've seen things work, not work. Go ahead and leave a comment, ask a question, tell me this is a terrible idea. I'm always learning, and so this is new to me, carrying things like this, but I'm digging it. I'm liking the concept, and I'd love more feedback from all of you as to whether you like it too. So that's it for this episode. See you next time.